So, welcome in continuation with the basic concepts in national income. We just finished with what is known as the domestic territory. And in that, we were taking up some examples which could be taken up as domestic product and some which will not be included in domestic product. As you must have just seen, just look at this. We just talked about this just for a quick revision. So any production activity that is inside the domestic territory, it's included in domestic product or domestic income. So one example, say for example, profits earned by Tata Motors in India. So that will be included in domestic product of India. And if we're talking about, say, profit earned by Reliance Industry in Singapore, well, it is not included. It's outside the domestic territory. So this production activity has taken place, has been carried out outside the domestic territory, hence it is not included in the domestic product or domestic income. So now in this class we are going to do what is known as the resident. What is a resident? People often confuse resident and citizen. That also we'll make clear. I'm going to make it clear. So resident is a person who is staying in a country where his economic interest lies, that is earning and spending his income over there. And citizen is where he belongs by birth or by some provision, by legal criterion. He's decided to take up the citizenship. So when you take up the citizenship, you have the right to vote, then and all of that, and so many other things. You have so many benefits of being a citizen of a country. So let's just talk about, without any ado, talk about what is a resident. Now, what is a resident? Normal resident of a country. What are they? A resident is defined as a person or an institution who ordinarily resides. That is, the period of stay should be at least 1 year or more in a country and whose center of economic interest lies in that country. Now, what is center of economic interest? There are two things. Number one, a resident lives or is located within the economic territory, and B, the resident carries out the basic economic activities. What are those? Of earning, spending, and accumulation from that location. So once again, so by center of economic interest, like he should have whose center of interest lies in that country, so he'll be called the normal resident of that country. So what is that? The resident carries out the basic economic activities. So what are basic economic activities? Earning and spending his income and accumulation of wealth from that location. So generally people talk about a resident and a citizen. What is the difference between the two? There is a difference between the term resident and citizen or national. A person becomes a national of a country because A, he is born in that country or on the basis of some legal criterion. A person is treated resident of a country on the basis of economic criterion stated above. It is not necessary that the resident must also be the national of that country. Even foreigners can be the residents if they pass the above stated economic test. For example, a large number of Indian nationals have settled in USA, England, Australia, etc. as residents and not nationals of these countries. For India, then, they become the non-resident Indians, that is NRI. That means they are holding the citizenship of India, but they are residents of some other place. So all such people are known as non-resident Indians. But why? Because they continue to remain Indian nationals. Now, talking about that, we can do some examples of non-residents. There are some categories of institutions and persons who are not treated as residents of the country. So let's see who are the non-residents. So it is because, why? Because they do not fulfill the criterion of center of economic interest. Now let's take international organizations. So we have what is the international organizations, like the World Bank, World Health Organization, IMF, ILO, etc. They are treated residents of any, they are not treated as residents of any country for that matter, but of international area. For the country in which these are situated, so they are non-resident organizations. So wherever they are, they don't belong to that country. They are of an international origin or international territory. So second is employees of international organization. What of them? They are considered residents of the country to which they belong and not of the international area. So that should be kept in mind. So whenever you're studying, be careful to see that whoever is employed, say, in the World Bank in India, are considered residents. Suppose if they are Indians working there, they're considered residents of the country to which they belong and not of the international area. Third, so what are we talking about? Examples of non-residents. Now, workers from across the border. Often the border workers keep crossing and going to the other part. So they cross borders regularly to work in the given country. They are treated as residents of the country where they live and not the residents of the country where they work. So wherever they are living, they become residents of that country. So wherever they live. Now, for example, if we say that say Indian workers employed in the power project of Nepal on daily wages and crossing into Indian territory every week. Who are they? Who would be they? So if you go through this definition as we just saw, then we'll find out that obviously Indian workers in Nepal are normal residents of India because they live in India and their center of economic interest lies in India. But they are employed in power projects of Nepal. So that's how it is. So wherever they are living. Then you have foreign visitors or travelers visiting the given country for studies or medical treatment, recreation, to take part in sports, cultural events, etc. All of these are non-residents for the country they are visiting, because there is another criteria that if a person is here for more than a year, then perhaps they become residents. Otherwise, they are not. They just tourists. Then you have foreign staff of embassies and foreign members of foreign armed forces located in the given country are treated as non-residents. So all the staff of the embassies who don't belong here or members of the foreign armed forces located in, say, India will be treated as non-residents because they are residents of the country from where they belong. Then the crews of foreign ships, aircrafts, etc. are treated as non-residents. So all the crew members of foreign ships or foreign aircrafts, they are treated as non-residents. So let me ask you a question, like for example, if I say Indians employed in the World Health Organization located in India, so what will they be? Yes, so Indian employed in WHO located in India are residents of India because their economic interest lies in India and they live in India. Basically, they live in India. So, for example, an American tourist staying in India, what will he be? A resident or non-resident? Yes, you're right. American tourist staying in India and is not the resident of India. He is a resident of America because his economic interest lies in America and he lives in America and he's not here. He's here for a short while, less than a year. So basically, we see that residents are of three types. One is nationals of a country residing in the country of which they are nationals, such as Indians living in India. Second, nationals of a country living abroad temporarily, that is less than 1 year, but their economic interest lie in the country of which they are the nationals, such as Indians living temporarily in foreign countries. And then normal residents also, foreigners living in a country for more than 1 year. So even so. So basically, this is what is it. So let's take some examples. So if I say, if I talk about rent paid by Russian embassy in India to an Indian resident, what would it be? It will be included in national product. If I talk about profit earned by an Indian company in USA, it will be included in national product. See the difference? So if I talk about profits earned by a US company in India, what will it be? It will not be included in national product or national income. So if I talk about profits earned by a branch of Citibank in India, again, that will not be included in the national product or national income because it's a non-resident of the country. So again, let me just tell you, this comes with practice. You have to first get that concept very deep inside, and that will come very simply if you just read it, listen to me, and then you read it. You read it from your text and make notes on it, and just you have the like in which we have these questions, or you have the full marks where you have the questions, or even marks. Most of these textbooks, they have a lot of these questions. You can go through them, and it's such great fun to find out who are the residents, who is not a resident.